I have been a business analyst for almost 12 years now, and many things have changed since then. Using all my experience, today I want to share what I would do if I started all over again from scratch in 2024. In this video, I will be sharing as a person who doesn't know anything about business analysis. I will pretend that I have no experience and I just heard that there is a profession called business analyst. So basically, I will try to pose as a person who doesn't know anything, has no experience in MBA, and just interested in learning more. And I will try to guide you through the same steps that I would do as a such person to begin with business analysis. And the very first thing I would start with is understanding what business analysis is. What jobs are out there for business analysis? Is it just one or many? What skills do you need to become a BA, and do you need different skills for different professions? And by the way, the last question would be most important because like it was 12 years ago, it is the same today. There is a lot of misconception about business analyst roles. There are IT business analysts, data analysts, process modeler, product owners, and many, many more. I could name at least 20 different professions by heart at any time. And from those 20, I could make hundreds if I need. Hundreds of variations depending on a business, domain, specific of job description, etc. It's just because what's in theory what business analysts do and what's in practice, they are never one-on-one. So I'd start with searching on the internet about the job specifics, watching some videos like this, maybe going to Quora or Reddit to search dozens of hundreds of threads where people ask the same question. There are many useful answers out there, including mine, by the way. I'd say that this part could take about a couple of evenings for a basic understanding, or up to the week if you'd like to do a thorough research. The next thing you need to do is to understand what kind of job you are looking for. There is a lot of specifics that may affect your experience. Would you like to work in an outsourcing business, product company, outstaffing, in-house projects, or be a part of huge businesses like Big Four? Processes in those are very different, and things BAs do may vary significantly. Besides that, you may want to understand if you are looking for a specific industry or a specific domain, or who knows, maybe you are open working in maybe a couple of domains at the same time. You may want to define for yourself the kind of project you would like to do. Commercial, non-profit, social work, etc. There are a lot of things to do as business analysts. On top of that, it is very important to understand your inclination towards a single project or being ready to switch between multiple short initiatives, or maybe something in between. Knowing all of these, or at least having a general gist of what your heart and mind looks for, will help you on the later stages to search for the job more efficiently. I would say that this question is very important to you because I encountered many different experts looking for a job, and almost all of them stuck with the understanding what would they do. And then when they came to me looking for a job and I was interviewing them, we understood that they're looking for very different things that we suggest. I would say that this part would take another couple of evenings or a week of thorough research. Now, there are many skills and tools that you could learn. There could be use cases and scenarios, BPMN and SQL, and there could be knowledge of running workshops and performing market research, what is needed from the BA. You might need knowledge of tools like Notion or ClickUp, or specific modeling tools like Visual Paradigm, Enterprise Architect, or Lucidchart. But I want to focus on the skills and tools that you will most likely be mentioned in any work description you meet. I would recommend sticking to the following skills: gathering requirements, modeling and documenting requirements, communicating with stakeholders, and agile knowledge. They have different names, they have different specifics, but the gist is always the same. And I will of course explain why those skills are the most important for business analysts. First, gathering or eliciting requirements. Analysts are responsible for understanding why we need to do something and what should be in scope of work. Most of the time we do this with interviews, or we go through some documents to get requirements from there, or maybe we look through the data in some cases. I'd say that conducting interviews are probably the most common technique here which everybody needs from BA. Those are one-on-ones or BA with a couple of people sitting and discussing what should be done and what should be in scope. The second thing is requirements modeling and documenting. The first is modeling. Unlike the name, it contains not only diagrams or prototypes. Requirements models are different artifacts we produce, like user stories, use cases, diagrams or any kind of tables or just text. So basically anything, any artifact that describes requirements. Most of the time you will see user stories and acceptance criteria in the job description, and maybe some kind of process modeling like BPM or UML activity diagram. You will also need to know how to document requirements, meaning knowledge of creating software requirements specification, and backlog management skills is also required. The latter is usually functional decomposition and prioritization. The next important thing is communicating all that information you have with stakeholders and collaborating with them on requirements. This part has less about your hard skills and focuses on your soft skills like verbal and written communication, teamwork, accountability, making people work together on the same goal, like maybe negotiation, scope questions, and so on. You will see things like this in job descriptions stated like being a bridge between business and the team or being a liaison between stakeholders. Finally, Agile is still a buzzword and something every business tries to utilize. Agile is a mindset and a set of frameworks you work in. You might have heard about Scrum, Kanban, or maybe even about SAFe. All of those are very common to see in job descriptions. You need to learn the basics of different frameworks like those mentioned and their ceremonies. On top of that, it would be essential to understand project development lifecycle in general. Now, here is the question. Where would I learn these skills? Fortunately, we are living in a time when there is tons of information out there. Videos, articles, podcasts, courses, and so on. If I were doing this from scratch, I would definitely start with YouTube. Basically, YouTube now is a free platform with tons of videos like this you may look for, a lot of instructional videos, courses, and so on. And of course, there are many channels dedicated to learning, dedicated to business analysis, just like this. By the way, I will be doing a lot more videos in future as well, so if you want to learn more about business analysis, it is high time to like, subscribe, and ring the bell not to miss any cool videos about business analysis, skills, interviews, jobs, books, and so many different things that I could share about business analysis. Another great way to learn for free is to go to Coursera. If you are ready to invest a little amount of money, there are cool and decent courses on Udemy as well. Depending on how much further you're ready to invest, you may even go to LinkedIn Learning or even take a course from one of the many business analysis education providers out there, or even hire a mentor. But I will talk about that just in a bit. Here are just a couple of frequently asked questions I would like to go through about learning skills and business analysis. The first one is, do you need a special education to become a business analyst? I would say that no. Of course, having a business analysis education before getting a job is great. But I know many business analysts who are great experts, but they came from healthcare, from economics, from foreign languages. Myself, I have a degree in economics, and I never learned business analysis before I started my trainee program. And the second popular question is it possible to switch to business analysis from another profession? I would say again yes, because I believe that everybody by nature are business analysts. I talked about this in my previous video. It is just from one profession it would be easier, from others it would be more challenging. Assuming that you don't have a job and you have free time, you can decently learn the theoretical part within a couple of weeks and be ready for applying for interviews. If you do learn in the evening and you have a job, I'd say that you will probably need a couple of months, but that would be more than enough to begin with. When you start without any experience, you may spend much time on researching in the wrong direction. If you do everything on your own, you may only rely on your life experience or your gut feeling, your intuition. Of course, this is the way most people do it, so there is nothing wrong with it. At the same time, if you had a person to guide you, there is an increased chance for success. It is cool that there are some people who could help you, business analysis mentors. Working with mentors will provide you with the following benefits. First, working with an experienced BA will be the way to make sure you're going in the right direction. When you learn from a person with 5, 7 or 10 years of experience, not only you do learn the basics, but you also absorb years of invaluable experience you won't get anywhere from books or videos. Secondly, you will be able to work on your portfolio more quickly, which could help you stand out later during applying to the jobs. Another thing the mentor could provide is a recommendation, especially if the mentor is a well-known figure in the field. This would drastically help you to get the job later. The mentor comes with a price though. Of course, there are people who do mentorship pro bono or for recommendation and feedback, but most do that for money. and sometimes it's kind of pricey. It is uncommon for mentor to cost anywhere from 30, 60 or 100 or even more per hour, so be careful with that. If you are ready to spend some money to streamline your education, make sure first what exactly you could get. Depending on the services you agree on, you may need to see a mentor like once a week, twice a week, or maybe even less. Sometimes you may get a mentor for more hours, but I suggest that you do that after you apply for your first job and you get your income. Consider this later as working with a psychologist, but in a professional way. The next thing you may think about is investing in building your portfolio. Portfolio is a set of artifacts that you have done or projects performed. If you have some experience, if you've done some job before, you may reuse that and put into your CV. But make sure you're not violating any NDA. If you don't have any experience, you may still create some artifact from existing products. For example, take any service or any product you know and try to derive features from it. Try to understand how the process works and create like feature list or maybe product backlog or maybe process diagram for major user flows. Or you may analyze stakeholders and try to guess their needs for a couple of systems and pack it into the stakeholder analysis portfolio item. A few people in my 12-year career brought something to show during the interview. There were a couple of reasons for that, like NDA or not having anything said on their PC or just thinking that their work is not good enough. Someone even said that there is not much to show in BA's job, which I totally disagree. I would say that partially they are true because a major part of our work is communication and you just couldn't bring that to the interview. But still, if you have a requirements model you created and you can share it in a way it doesn't tell you who your client or not violating an NDA, that's more than enough. The reason why portfolio is very important for entry-level jobs is that every person with no experience will have the same empty CV, meaning that just graduation info, maybe some personal characteristics, and that's it. So scanning through hundreds of CVs will definitely make the one with portfolio stand out. And here is where I go to my next point. As I said, the person with no experience won't have much to add to their CV. Still, there is a way to make it look good. It doesn't need to be super slick. It just needs to be concise and to the point. Besides personal and contact info, put the skills you learned and any educational courses you see to be relevant. And probably some kind of summary. Now, the summary may be the most important thing. In summary, you should state why do you think you fit the role. What is the interest in business analysis and why you selected this role specifically. And that's it. Your goal is to get from the automated systems that scan CVs and get to the hands of hiring managers. If you do everything right, you will get to the next step, testing or even to the interview, depending how much do you fit based on your resume. If you used a mentor services, you may also attach their feedback on your work and contact information, so the potential employee can contact them for details. Making a good CV should not take more than one evening after you've done all that we talked before. It is not a rocket science, especially for the person with no experience, as there is no much to put there. I will be making separate videos on how to build your business analysis CV later, so if you want to learn how to do that, subscribe for this channel not to miss it. Now, after doing all these preparations, it's high time to apply for a job. I'd say there are 3 ways of doing that. First, you may research companies you would like to work for and look for internship program. It is very common for businesses to hire a person to teach them first and only then take into the team. Another and probably most commonly used way is to start using job platforms like Glassdoor, LinkedIn, Indeed, or any local ones. Enter the job name, filter the list of results, click apply, and that's it. If everything goes well, you will hear from the company. You may apply for jobs by yourself and be one of the 1,000 CVs for a potential employee. Or you may try the third path. The third way is to contact people who know businesses, who can get you a job faster. I mean recruiters. Working with recruiters might be pricey for you though, because they sometimes take 1 or 2 months of your salary as a commission. But sometimes they take that commission from the employer, which is great for you. Anyhow, you will get not only the job probably, but you will get recommendations on your CV on how to pass the interview and a lot of helpful advice. On some markets, there are no headhunters, and thus there are no people who will bridge you to the business. On some markets, recruiters work specifically for businesses, for the companies, so you won't be getting these services. But if you have, you should definitely try contacting them and learning what they could provide you with. If you've done everything right, eventually you will get your first interview. And this is very exciting to get it first. I totally remember mine. Legs shaking, losing my voice, all that things. This is the last thing that you actually need to do to nail that interview. Usually there are two parts to go through: company recruiter part and the expert part. During the first part, companies will try to understand if you fit them in general, like if you have the same values or spirit, if you understand or you want to understand what company does. They will ask you about the profession and why do you want to be a BA, about the job description, such sorts of things. So make sure to prepare a speech about yourself in advance. Research the company info and get ready for such questions. The second part is usually a technical part. Here you will be asked to tell what you know about business analysis, what kinds of requirements are there, and those sorts of theoretical things. What kinds of business analyst tasks do you know, and what techniques would you like to use to perform these tasks? You may get a test task during the interview, like to pose an SBA and get the requirements from stakeholders. You may even be asked to model some requirements, like creating a product backlog or writing a couple of user stories, maybe creating a process diagram with a technique you know. You will also get behavioral questions that will show how you would communicate with a team and how would you perform in complicated situations in general. Like all sorts of questions to show that you communicate and collaborate right with the people. This phase, like researching for a job, applying and interviewing, or even passing tests, may take anywhere from a week to a couple of months or even the whole year. According to my research and public information, it is common to search for a job for about 6 months. It's like an average time frame. It doesn't mean that the person is not fitting or something is off. It is just the way things work. It may happen both to new and experienced business analysts, depending on the job market state. Of course, there are more factors than just a market state or your knowledge that may affect the time frame, like where you live, which industry did you choose, what BA job you are looking for, etc. All this matters. So brace yourself for this time and keep studying simultaneously. While you're looking for a job, do not stop getting new knowledge, increasing your portfolio and working with a recruiter or a mentor. I know that 6 months may seem to be much, but think of it as a way not just getting your first job, but getting you a profession will feed you for many years in the future. Business analysis is a vast and super important job, so getting it will open a lot of horizons for you. Congratulations, you've nailed your interview and now you have an offer. Here are some tips on how to accept it professionally. First, review the offer carefully. Before accepting, make sure you understand all the aspects of the offer. Look at the salary, benefits, job role description, and expectations. If anything unclear, don't hesitate to ask for clarification. As a hiring manager, I had many people who became frustrated with their jobs later because they didn't understand the specifics. So I always encourage people to ask questions because it benefits both parties. Second thing is to be ready to negotiate if necessary. If the offer doesn't fully meet your expectations, don't be afraid to talk. This could be about salary, benefits, or job responsibility. Be polite and professional, and provide clear reasons for your requests. Also, you need to formally accept the offer. Once you're happy with it, write an email saying that you are in. Thank your employer for the opportunity, confirm your acceptance, and restate the key terms of the offer as you understand them. This ensures that there are no misunderstandings later. Finally, ask for the next steps and clarify what needs to be done. This could include like signing contract, undergoing a background check, or completing any onboarding tasks. Be your own project manager here. Of course, the company is responsible for those steps, but it is to your benefit as well to make sure everything goes right. As a final bit in this section, I would like to mention top 3 mistakes people do while looking for a job in business analysis. One of the biggest mistakes is sending out the same resume to multiple job applications. Tailor your CV for each job, highlighting relevant skills and experience that match your job description. This shows employers that you put through into your application and increases your chances of standing out. Second biggest mistake is ignoring the job description. Not reading the job description can lead to applying for roles that aren't good for you or you don't fit for them, or being unprepared for interview questions about the role. Take time to understand what the employer is looking for and align your application accordingly. Finally, many job seekers fail to follow up after submitting an application or after an interview. A follow-up email shows you continued interest in the position and keeps you on an employer's radar. It can make a significant difference in a competitive job market. And there you have it. If this video was helpful for you, don't be shy and hit the like button. It helps me reach more aspiring business analysts just like you. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss more videos just like this. Do you have any questions, or maybe you want to share something that you've used in your career that helped you get a job? Comment below. I love hearing from you. I love your experience and success stories. And of course, if you like this video a lot, you can always support this channel. You may find a link to buy me coffee in the description. And that's it. Thanks for watching, and please let me know if this video helped you to land the job. It will really mean the world to me.